everybody should be in. We'll get started here. So what I'm going to do here in a second, gang, I'm going to mute you all, but you'll have the ability to unmute yourself if there's something that happens along the way. You obviously, probably the best way is if you're texting in the messages. Hey, you can, then Lenore's keeping track of that. She's going to be sort of our MC for that and get those in at the right times. So we'll appreciate that. So we'll go ahead and I am, let's see, just making sure everything's good. Okay, so I'm going to mute you guys all now. And you are allowed to unmute yourself, but you can still hear me. Shake your heads, right? Okay, there we go. Good. So I'm going to move around here to a couple of different things. Today, we're going to need to look at what we know today about the new website that we probably didn't know yesterday. It has been a bit of a, shall we say, an adventure trying to get this understood. And we've been fortunate that some of the things that we have noticed that are wrong with it, that I've been able to communicate that with CMS, and they've fixed some of those things. And of course, it's somewhat of a 2 steps forward, 1 step back, because yesterday printing worked earlier in the day, but printing doesn't work today. So they've broken that one overnight. So we'll see here in a minute what works, what we know, and how we can get around it. Let me also point out, as we have keeping track of some things, I'm very excited. I don't even know what to make of this number, but as of exactly right now, we have 1,696 clients already made appointments. So that is that's a bit of a big number. I'm not sure how to think about it, but I think we're well on our way to doing a really great job. I will talk a little bit later too about where we have gaps in the first week where we need a little help with people jumping in and see if they can't pull a little extra load, especially on the mobile unit, but we're doing okay. We're going to be okay. They're not putting in any more clients that don't have a counselor against them. So they've got there has to be a counselor already scheduled to be there and a seat open for an appointment at this moment. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move over to the first part of this, and I'm going to share a screen with you guys. Share screen 3, boom. So you should now be able to see like a PowerPoint slide that has account login or creation, correct? Shake. Yes. Yep. Good. Thank you. So we're going to cover real quick the very first thing we're going to have to encounter, which is to get into the Medicare site, we have got to be able to have a username and login for their My Medicare account. Now, most of those people are not going to have those accounts yet. And even the ones that do might not remember their username and password, and we're going to be okay with that because they've done a pretty good job of thinking through all of those processes. But you'll end up on this page where you're going to log in, and then you are going to click this login button right up here. Oops, sorry, I get my mouse over here, right up here. If you can go in the back door, like we've always been able to go in the back door without the people's information, but that means that we're going to have to create a drug list from scratch, though we can still enroll somebody if we've gone through the back door. But we're going to try our best to go through the front door on these people. So we're going to hit the login. It's going to bring up this page, and it won't have the yellow arrow, but I'm pointing here where it says create an account. So if they did have their username and password, we're putting it in there. We're going to create an account because we want to know how to do that first. It's going to bring up on the next click this page where we put the Medicare number in, just like we have before, last name, suffix if there's a suffix on the Medicare card. Email address if you have one, confirm. we'll be clicking this most of the time. Don't have an email address or don't even want an email address associated with this thing. Boom, we're going to click it. Then birth date, month, date, year, just like we were doing before. Nothing too crazy here so far. Then it's going to, further down the screen, it's going to ask us to put in the zip code like we always had to, and the effective date for Medicare A, and you can still switch it to Medicare B if you need to switch it over to be doing that. But Medicare A activation dates here, and then we're going to hit continue. So nothing out of the ordinary here. Remember on this, if I've missed something or you're like, wait, hang on a second, you can always unmute yourself and yell at me, or text something in and Lenore will yell at us. So at this point now, we're going to create the account with the username, and then we're going to have a secret answer, a challenge answer. And there's various ones on that. We pick the answer we want with that. And then you go put the password down and confirm the password. What we have put on the boards in front of you with all the quick information is a piece of paper that has suggestions on how to pick a username and a password, especially the password. If they have an email account, the easiest username is to use their email account as their username for them to remember, because no one else has that email account. It's going to be a situation where if we type in, oh, we want Jim Self 123, there may be another Jim Self 123. And then we're just fighting to find a username that works. But the email will always be unique to that person. Again, it gives you the normal instructions, 8 to 16 characters. I've already had to set somebody up on on this, and they had a password they wanted to use, and it was 17 characters, and that created a problem. We had to shorten the password. Standard, one letter, one number, one symbol, and then this password that they put in here will stay solid for 2 years. So we won't have to worry about that. You will write the username and password on the back of your intake form. We do have permission from the federal ACL, who oversees the whole program, to keep the usernames and passwords. At this point, in creating an account, we've got our username, password, boom, boom, boom. We connect, that's what that page would look like filled out. And it'll take you back to the login. And so then you put in the username and password you just created. There is no email verification, no two-step process. It's already done. So then you can log in. So let's type them in, log it in, and go. Now, that's going to be most of our clients are like that. But then we're going to have the ones who don't remember their username or password, or even remember whether they have a username or password. So at that point here, when we get to username and password, we're going to click the trouble signing in. At that point, you're going to pick whether you've forgotten your username, your password, both of them, or verify your account access if you're not sure whether you even have an account. Again, you're going to step through, let's say you've forgotten your username. Whoops, jumped on me, sorry. Your username, and you're going to put in the Medicare number, the last name, date of birth, things. Oh, wait, I found out why it's jumping on me here. Hang on a second. I hit the little scroll button and it's jumping through these. Here we go. Date of birth, and then prove that you're not a robot. And these are very simple ones, like type in the last 3 numbers of this number. It gives you right here, or the middle 2 numbers, or what color is the purple pen, which is actually a real one that they've used. So now it would come up and tell you that your username is Mighty Mouse. So you know your username, and hopefully you know your password. But let's say you've forgot your username and password. Now we're going in the same way, entering the same data. We have the username. We're proving that we're not a robot right here. And now it's going to ask you the question, what city did you first meet your spouse? Which immediately I had several people say on that question is like, what if you've had more than one spouse? And I was like, however you want to pick which question it is, but this is the challenge question, and you answer your challenge question that you have chosen. And now it will let you put a new password in and confirm the password. So now we've got a working username and password. Same thing, if you've forgotten them both, you're going through the same steps. You're going to get your Mighty Mouse, and then it's going to go through and ask you to answer the secret question. Write in, pick your new username and password. Now we've got a new username and password. Verifying your account access. This is to find out if you have one even to start with. It's still the same information we're entering in, and going through there, and now it's giving you have previously enrolled in mymedicare.gov on this date. Your person, there. This is your username, and then you're going to go through the process of recovering your password. So it says questions there, but that is to jump through the hoops. I'm going to unshare that page one step here. So that is how we're going to get through getting people signed up on a My Medicare account to then further go in. Now, obviously, you're not doing them all. It's either one. They've never had one. You're creating an account, or they forgot their password, and we're just finding their password. Then we're getting in. We're hoping that none of this process, unless it really bogs down, is going to be more than 3 to 5 minutes of getting in, signing somebody up for a new one, and moving along. Once we're in, here's the value in getting in this direction. Once we're in, it will pre-populate the drug list with what they have picked up in the last 12 months. So if they pick these things up at the pharmacy, it's going to list a list of things. And I've seen this. We've dealt with these already over the last 2 weeks. First lady I had, she had it populated the whole thing out, and we looked over each drug just to make sure, and half of the drugs she didn't take anymore, so we got rid of them and added a new drug she was taking. But it does give us probably a fairly good head start on the drug list, especially for those clients who have forgotten to bring their drug list or something has happened with that. So, going in through the username and password, it's going to give us a lot more information about that. Okay, so let's just say we're in, and I'm going to share a different screen here with you now, and we're going to look at the actual website. Share screen too. So are we seeing somebody shake their head if we got a Medicare.gov site here? Yep, good, thank you. Okay, so we're going to come in, and right now it says preview 2020 health plans, and it'll be just the plan finder. We're going to come in. If you click down here, get free access to your username and account, it's going more to the My Medicare account and not really to the plan finder. So then you have to kind of redirect to the plan finder. We're going to go with the plan finder right here. We're going to click into this, and it's going to give us the page where we log in or create an account or continue without logging in. Today we are going in the back door and stuff. So we're going in here, and it wants to know what we want to look at, Medicare Advantage, any of these things, Medigap. Typically we're looking at Part D, so we're going to stay with that today. Part D, and it's going to ask me to enter my zip code, and it's always going to ask me what county, even if there is only one county. It's going to ask me that. I'm going to click, and then it's going to ask me, it won't necessarily ask this in the front door, but it's asking me on the back door, do I get any subsidies? And we're going to go, for this moment, we don't get any subsidies for that. Now, 1 second. I have lost my piece of paper that I'm keeping track of things, and I'm going to write something down here. Okay, perfect. Now, it wants to know if we want to compare drugs, and yes, we do. That's going to ask whether the retail pharmacy or the mail order pharmacy or both. Most of the time, we're just going to go both and take a look at it and move along. So now it wants me to enter in drugs. Now, if we'd gone in the front door, this would be pre-populated with whatever drugs they've picked up at the pharmacy previously. But now we're going to type in some drugs because we came in the back door. I'm going to go with Humulin. It's a little bit of insulin thing here. I'm going to add that drug. It's going to have me select the dosage. Now I'm going to get the, which one do I want? I'm going to go ahead and get the pen. And so it's asking for 1 pen. How many pens do we pick up a month? We're going to say 2. We're just randomly guessing 2 here, but I could have picked any of those or changed the dosages of the number of pens. But we're just going to pick up 2 pens and add that to my drug list. So now it's been added to my drug list. If I've messed up the quantity or things like that, I can edit the drug, or if I guess got the wrong one in, I can get rid of the drug. We're going to add in something like Celebrex. And when I hit add drug, it immediately is going to ask me, is like, do you really want Celebrex or do you want the generic? Now, one of the interesting things is I could come in and enter this twice and enter the generic and the brand name and do some comparison stuff, but we're just going to say we're going for the generic on this one. Again, it gives me the most common here. I'm going to get a little smaller capsule and 30 for a month. And I'm going to add that to the drug list. Let's add a couple more drugs here just to give us some things. Here's the one I wanted to pick that we want to put in metformin because that's like on every 3rd drug list, right? Now, this year it gives us like a whole bunch of what metformin, and we literally had to go through each metformin to make sure we found the right one. Everybody's standard metformin that they're taking is the metformin hydrochloride. So, and I think we've got that on a little thing on your board in front of you as a cheat sheet to kind of go, oh yeah, metformin, it's going to come up as metformin hydrochloride. I'm going to add that drug. And as normal, it gives you all of those extended releases and everything. Remember, most people who say they're on extended release metformin are not. And you just ask them how much you pay for that drug. And if they say, oh, $1 or $2, it's like, you're not on extended release. So we're going to add this drug and move along. I want to put one more in here just to give us more depth of. And so we're going to go for Eliquis. Add in big old Eliquis. We're going to keep it the same and move on. Now I'm done with my drug list. So I got several ways to move forward. I can do done with drug list, or I can use the done over here in the lower right-hand corner and just move along. Now it's going to ask me about pharmacies. Now it looks a little different than before, but it's going to give you a map over here and kind of list them geographically instead of alphabetically. So wrong. So you're going to have to just look over. Now I'm going to go like I want Walmart and I want Harris Teeter. So I got now mail order and 2 pharmacies here. But our complaint has always been you can't get enough pharmacy things. So I can take the mail order out. And I want to add another pharmacy, but it's not on this list at first. So I'm going to say, oh, give me more pharmacies. And now it's going to change my map. Come on, map, boot. I'm going to change my map to where it's looking for pharmacies. And, you know, might be here on this second one where I want to go with the Rite Aid. Or if I wanted to see more, I could click more pharmacies and it'll change the map again and move out. And you can kind of scroll the map around to help locate things. But I have my 3 pharmacies I want: Walmart, Harris Teeter, Rite Aid, and I'm going to hit done. Okay. It's going to load up my 29 prescription drug plans. Now, the biggest problem we had that needed fixed was we need to be able to sort by lowest drug plus premium cost. We want the total out of pocket. So you're going to have to pull the drag down menu here to sort by and change it to that because they didn't set it as the default. So now it's going to calculate out my plans. You see here, now they have changed this number from a couple of days ago to being the estimated drug cost plus premium costs. So here's our big number. It's sitting right here on each one of this, and it has sorted in best price for that. Now, Colt found out for us, looking over this, that occasionally somewhere down the line, it may invert one from the other. So this one may be slightly more expensive than this one. It just gets one of them out of order. A lot of times that's further down the line, not even things we're going to be looking at, because we're really looking at what the top ones are here. Now, you can go to plan details like we normally would do. You also could add like 3 of them together and do side-by-side comparisons. I want to hit this for just a second. And you can see some summary information side by side coming down here. You know, you may want to go that way. A lot of people go, excuse me, the other way. Going back to my plan results here. And I'm going to make sure I'm sorted by lowest drug and premium costs. And I just want to look at the top plan, the Cigna plan. Now, it's going to give me the monthly premium and deductible as normal up here on the top. It is, as of today, it has given us this interesting little informational thing where going on, you know, it talks about, well, if it's a standard retail drug price or retail pharmacy, you know, cost or things, you know, it's interesting, but I don't know that it's relevant to what we need to tell the clients to be able to go through that. If you figure out a way that that's helpful, then let us know. But now it's going to go down through the pharmacies. And instead of listing them where there were 3 tabs or 2 tabs across the top and you switch between pharmacies, it has them just scroll down in order as we're moving along. So, and they've done them in the selection that you selected them in, not necessarily which one is the best price pharmacy. So a little bit of a could be better issue here. Now they'll go through, they'll get the retail costs, and they have the before deductible costs, they have the after deductible costs. And I want to look at this first one here just very specifically, where it is, hang on a second, here is our donut hole, our coverage gap. And that was supposed to have gone away. What's going on with this? So what we need to make sure we understand is what happened to the donut hole. The donut hole came to a point where it matches what the average for the after deductible, or what we used to call the initial coverage period. So in the initial coverage period, the average way that drugs are split is the insurance company takes 75% and you're responsible for 25% of the cost of the drug. Except that's an average. Some drugs may be much cheaper for you than 25% or more expensive than 25%. They may be a 50-50, but the average ends up as a 75-25. Now the rule with the change in the coverage gap was in the coverage gap period, it is 75-25, not it may be 75-25 or averaging, it will be. So if you look through here and looked at these numbers, they are in the coverage gap right here, exactly 25% of the retail cost. Come here. The only odd one out is this metformin, which is still, because it's paying 100% for it, it's still paid 100% for it. It's sort of the odd duck out. But at first, we thought there was a problem with the numbers in the coverage gap, but then we realized, wait, there isn't. That these here in the deductible, post-deductible initial coverage period, those numbers are averaging out to about 75-25 split. These over here are 75-25 split. So it is a little, you kind of have to have that in your tucked under your belt to know because some people are going to look at this and do exactly what we did the first time and went, wait a second, I thought the coverage gap was going away. And it was like, yeah, kind of, yes. Yes, it is, kind of. But you see, like some drugs, like this Celebrex, generic for Celebrex, it's less in the coverage gap, and these ones are more in the coverage gap, and that's just the same. Okay, I'm going to take a second here. Let me come back to managing all you people for a second, because I want to stop at that. Meeting controls, where are we at here? And I'm going to come off the share for a second. And I'm going to unmute everybody. And let,
Oh dear.
Okay, I've unmuted everybody for a second here. And I see some questions on the quote things that I'm going to come back for. In fact, it's like the same. Can't say one person. I can't see what Randy clicked to share the comparisons. I'll go back and I'll do that in a second. But it ain't real. That coverage gap is kind of caught us by surprise. Are you guys? Does that explanation relatively cover that for you for the coverage gap?
I'd like to hear it again, if you would.
Let me say it again then. In the rule was that the coverage gap was going away, that the donut hole. But what it was is that it was coming to match what the 75-25 split that the average was in the initial period. So now in the coverage gap, it will be a 75-25 split of the retail cost. But that doesn't mean that back in the initial cost period, after the deductible and the initial cost period, the pricing of those drugs are not locked to 75-25. They average to 75-25. Does that make sense?
And then afterward, they will all be 75-25.
Until you hit catastrophic, yes.
Okay.
And that's why we still see the coverage gap in our plan finder. And for that reason, and also when it shows how to get to the, how we get into the catastrophic part of that. Okay, I am going to take a second, and I'm going to mute you all again. You can always unmute yourself if you need be. And I'm going to go back to sharing here for 1 second, because I'm going to come back and answer a couple of questions and show you some, and we'll continue forward, obviously. So we are back here and we're seeing Walmart Pharmacy, right? Everybody see that? Okay, good. Okay. Down here, it's going to give you the monthly chart, and a chart, and I say as a not a chart, it's just a spell out of the estimated cost. You can see our person here is going to be in the initial coverage period paying that. There's going to be the deductible period here, which was $2 more expensive, and then move into the initial period, and then they're going to roll into the coverage gap, and that's going to be more expensive for them right here. And you go through, and each pharmacy will do the same thing on this. Now, they do say, each pharmacy says, this is a preferred in-network pharmacy. Harris Teeter is a preferred network pharmacy. And Rite Aid happens to be a preferred pharmacy also. So it does tell you that, but it does give you the chart for each one. What's the number we're wanting to look for is, we're going to kind of be looking at where these numbers are to decide which pharmacy may be better than the other. This one is an obvious choice because here in the middle, we're looking at the top one is 87 going to 184. The middle one is 46 going to 166. And this one's 78 going to 175. So the obvious pharmacy here is Harris Teeter on this. Hopefully in the future, they're going to give us that breakdown side by side like we had it before. But they have not made everything better. They have made some things worse, but this is what we got to deal with. So this is where we are right here. Now, somebody asked about the comparing plan. So I'm going to go back, and you can go back either this way, back to search results, and and I have picked 3 plans. I'm going to take that one out. Hang on a second. I want to get rid of all my compares down here at the bottom. Can you guys see that blue chart down there? And I'm going to add here and add the second one, the Magellan and the Mutual of Omaha. Now I have them all here, and then I can hit compare. Somebody was asking that question. So I can go to compare that way for this. Now, how to get back to look at other things, we used to have a bar across the top here where we could navigate back and forth between pages. Now it is, you want to go to the plan finder. You want to look at one of the plans, and you want to scroll down almost to the bottom, like there's my bottom, almost to the bottom. And over here, hidden away, is an edit remove drug button. And now this will take you back to your drugs. So here you can edit and remove drugs. But let's just say we're really more concerned about, we want to do something with pharmacies. So now we're over here and we wanted to go, well, Harris Teeter was good, but let's get rid of that Walmart. That wasn't any good. But we never did check CVS. So let's check CVS. Now CVS, and Rite Aid was no good. So we're going to get rid of it right there with the X button. So we've changed out our pharmacies, but you had to get there by going back to the drugs and come back around. There wasn't a direct route to get to the pharmacies. So now I'm going through and I'm loading my plan finder with these new pharmacies, and we still got Cigna, Mutual of Omaha, and Magellan up here as our top 3 going along. I can look here, look at our plan again, still have that interesting information there. But now we're looking here, Harris Teeter's looking pretty good. What did that CVS look like? Well, the CVS, it didn't look any better. It probably looks a little worse than anything we had before. But then it's giving you those drugs, pricings for each of those. Now, I want to go back one more time because I want to show you this one more time because it's hard to find, is to get back to the drugs, you come down almost to the bottom and you hit the edit drugs. You go back to the drugs. I wanted to look at I wanted to add a drug. I wanted to add, let's say, the Shingrix shot, right? People ask questions about that. I want to add this. Now, any logical person would go, okay, you get 2 of those, shots separated by months, and you got to do it every 12 months. Where the heck did our every 12 months go? We had an every 12 months here on the old plan. We don't have it here. And what I learned on Wednesday and then conversations on Thursday with my guy at CMS was, not only is it not there, it's not going to be fixed during open enrollment. So I text back or email back to him going, okay, this is a problem because we're going to have hundreds of clients that are either wanting to know about Shingrix, or they're going to know they've got a rescue inhaler, but they only pick up one a year to keep a fresh one because those ones expire every year. What the heck do? We need direction on how to do this. And so they go, yes, we see it's a problem. We can't fix it right now. And it is going to throw some things off. So go to the every 3 months, put in as small as a dose, that you can. So at this moment, we're getting 6 Shingrix shot, 4 Shingrix shots in a year, which you're not going to get. But we've made note of what was our good plans before we added this one in. I'm going to keep my pharmacies for right now. And I'm going to move along, and it's going to give me the plans. Well, we see that Mutual of Omaha and Magellan were 2 of our top plans before, but the other one was Cigna, and it moved down to like 4th place down here at the Shingrix shot. So, I want to look and see what the Shingrix shot costs. Going to come down here. Harris Teeter seems to be a good place. The Shingrix shot is really, after deductible, only going to cost $33 every time we do it. And, you know, down here, even there, it's like $33.42. So we know that we're going to get 2 of those shots. So we got $66.62 that we're going, okay, these are still the best plans because coming up on here. So we're going to pick them. That's the way they gave it to me. They said, run the drugs that you have without the Shingrix or the inhaler or the whatever. Run them, find out what the best plans are, take note of that, go back, put in that drug, and then see if which one of those plans still stays solid as the best plan. I got you all muted, but I can hear you yelling from here because this is not an acceptable strategy that I'm comfortable with to be able to give the best pricing for our people, because we are sort of getting a little wiggly on the very end of this process. But it is, from CMS, the best that they can come up with on how to handle this. And I'm really still thinking, at what level did somebody not notice that that was an important feature to have on this site and that they didn't put it on it, nor did they even notice it enough to go, we should correct that before open enrollment. I'm like, ugh. So I am as frustrated as all of you guys are. I'm afraid to unmute the you people now because I may hear something, but I am going to anyhow with that. Stop share, unmute all of that. Everybody is unmuted that wants to be unmuted. It is problematic.
Can I ask just a more basic question? When
Sure,
through,
sure. Who do we got? Who's asking?
It's Barry Gold.
Okay. Hey, Barry.
Paris plan, and you have all this detail.
Yeah.
Most people are going to be interested in what is the total cost for the year.
Right, and that's what we're interested in. So let's go.
Okay, but it doesn't show up in a direct comparison before you have to go through all that detail?
Barry, it does. It does. I'm going to leave you guys unmuted, and I'm going to put back the share so I can show you this. Share. Okay. Okay, so I'm back in my drug list. I'm going to get rid of the Shingrix for right now because it's just messing up life for us. And then I'm going to go here to done. I've got my pharmacies. Now, here's where I want to show you, Barry. I want to get rid of these off my compare chart here for a second. The number that we are interested in is the total out of pocket for the year. Right there. So somebody's going to want to know, Barry, how much is the total thing going to cost me? That's what we got right there. Next one is going to be this one. Now, we did check. This number represents, hang on a second, I am going to mute you guys. You guys are banging around on me here. Let me see if I can figure out how to mute you from here.
So, you know, what's confusing is this big number on the left, $63 monthly premium, that obviously does not include all the calculations for deductibles and so on.
Where are you, Barry? I'm sitting on my screen. You can see this. Barry, what number are you looking at?
Looking at the 63, the 2580.
Oh yeah, here, right here. $63 a month is the premium.
Those are in big
oh yeah
letters, and they sort of hid the total cost in that second column, which is of course the important one. Just
right.
when people see this on the screen, I could see why they would be initially confused. Like, how do we go from $63 a month to $2,000?
Right. And that's where the point is, where you're going to pull up this in the plan detail. Again, it's always been that little number, the number we want, has kind of been buried from the headlines.
I don't remember that, but whatever.
Yeah, because it was over on the left, but in the middle was the premium, like real big in the middle here, and then it was over here on the left. So this here now is, we just got to point them. We're the people, we're here to instruct them. This is the number you're interested in. Boom, let's take a look at while we get to that 2025. So we're going to have premium costs here. We're going to come down, and this is going to be the cost for the drugs per month. And then this is coming down and telling you how much you're paying at the pharmacy here at Harris Teeter for all that. So when we add all the numbers together of your monthly premiums and what you're paying every month here for this on average, then you're going to get up to $2,000 and stuff. Now, in the past, they have handed that number to us on this page, and they have not handed that number to us on this page when we go into the explanations.
You add up everything yourself.
Right. But I'm saying is, we know that these numbers here added together with the premium is 2,000, is that number.
39.
Looking at it for the first time, and they're going to be a big
Right.
I understand it now. In fact, it's just poorly done.
Well, there's a lot about this that was poorly done.
It seems like it's gone from better to worse.
It has gone from we could use it to we can't use it.
Okay.
But in a sense, we've figured out enough to work with. Because even here, if I went side by side, it'll give me like the premium, but then it'll give me how much it costs to pick up the drugs, but it hasn't added those two things together. The only place it adds them together is on the results page. Okay, so right here is the only place where it's added together. Now, remember over here, I guess going to keep reiterating, you do have to choose the lowest drug premium cost. Now, what I have noticed is since I selected that the first time and have been running around in here, it has stayed there. It didn't fall back to something else. So that's good. Okay. I'm going to mute some people here. Let me ask, we're going to continue. We got other things to cover on this, but how are we doing so far? Okay. Everybody understand that's how we enter in a Shingrix or we enter in a rescue inhaler we're only picking up once a year. We're going to leave that off the drug list and then figure out our plans where we're at, and then we're going to add it in and run it again and then check and make sure that the right plans are coming up. I've played with it a little bit, tried different combinations of drugs, and usually, I'll have the top 3 before I put it in, and at least 2 out of the top 3 are still there after I put it in. So, those ones, there's not a lot of variant. If they're going to cover Shingrix, it's going to be fairly close to the same amount. If they're going to cover the inhaler, it's going to be fairly close to the same amount. So there's not a lot of volatility on that, on all the plans. You just may have one plan that was like, oh, they don't carry that at all, and so suddenly it disappeared, and that's the plan you don't want to pick.
Hey, Randy, I just had a question to clear up the Shingrix in my mind. So you're saying
Jackie,
that we're going to run the plan finder with all their drugs without the Shingrix first.
That's correct. Yep.
And then we're going to go back in and we're going to add those shots to their current drug list or completely by itself?
No, to their current drug list.
Okay, gotcha. And
Yeah.
then we'll just run it again to see
Yeah.
that it stays the same.
Yeah, and again, the best we can do with like a Shingrix shot, you're going to need 2 of them. Some people may only need 1 because they had 1 before the first of the year, but we can put it in 1 shot for every 3 months. And then we can then at that point, once we've run it and looked at it, we can tell them, well, the calculator's a little messed off because of that, but we can see here that your Shingrix shot will be $33.12.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
See what I'm
Brand-
saying? Yes.
When they put in the estimated total drug cost to calculate that total amount,
Yeah.
do they use the lowest? Do they use an average of what you had for pharmacies?
Colt, yes. Colt, are you there and can I hear you? Colt, can I hear you?
I'm here.
Good. Colt helped run some of these scenarios to make sure that this was what we thought it was. And Colt, correct me if I'm wrong, is they do grab whatever the lowest pharmacy is, correct?
Everything I looked at, yes.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. The other thing is we do have the backup plan B if this thing crashes, if this plan finder sort by lowest total cost dies on us for some reason. we have built, I say we, Colt has built a sub-program where if we did everything by just the lowest premiums, so I've calculated here lowest premiums, and we run this little sub-program, in 30 seconds, it kicks out an Excel sheet and tells us what the best plan is. So if the calculator fails on Medicare, our calculator works.
May I ask a real basic question?
Yes, yes, sure.
And in the monthly itemization of each drug cost, it seemed like the middle of the year, things moved over into the catastrophic category.
Right, and this is
So-
given,
But the first 6 months didn't, to me, add up to be anywhere near $4,020 to put people into that catastrophic category.
right, well, let me here just sort of run this, because we're dealing with two fairly big monster drugs to on this thing. So let me guess, I'm pulling out my calculator, doing a little calculations here. 6 months. Oh yeah, so just on the Eliquis and the Humalog, because we use, if you can see this on my screen, we use, what?
It's all shredded.
Oh,
Oh, okay, sorry, somebody else talking in the background. Okay, so right here, these two big numbers are the ones they're using to get to that. Those two numbers alone in 6 months get you to $3,900.
Right, that's it, yeah. So when we explain it to the client, these monthly drug costs doesn't take into account what the program is paying for those.
Right, because if you remember, how you get to the donut hole in the first place is a total of how much you have spent on the prescriptions and how much that the insurance company has paid for those prescriptions. So yeah, I picked these
That's why I
particularly
clicked
big
on
drugs
that.
so it would give us
Okay.
this.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
On the pricing that shows the lowest in the, after the search, 22,075, the premium plus the pharmacy cost. The only way to figure out which pharmacy is the lowest when you go into the plan detail is to eyeball it or use a calculator, is that right?
Yeah, what we know right now is that right here, if you can see my highlighted, this
Right.
number here, that it has looked and picked which one the lowest pharmacy is. But to be very helpful, when we go there, it doesn't tell us that.
Right, it doesn't ID the.
ID that one, so we're going to have to eyeball that one to see which one it is. And you know, this one was sort of an obvious when we're talking 46, 66, 87, 182. Yeah, they're talking about Harris Teeter.
And if you wanted to be sure, you could go and remove the higher, what you thought was the higher price pharmacy and see if it stays the same.
Right. So, which
And you
brings
might
up,
want to do that before you printed it anyway.
absolutely. Let me get to that. I'm going to mute you guys for a second, but allow you to unmute yourself. Okay. There we go. So what we've got here, when you go to print, not only does their print not do a very good job of giving us what we want, because it will print the first pharmacy, no matter whether that's the right pharmacy or not. So to fix that, we have to do our part. We go back, edit, come back around. Here's my drugs. I've hit done. Now I'm going to go back. I know Harris Teeter is my best pharmacy. So I'm going to get rid of the CVS. You see how I did that down there? Here, I'm going to put CVS back in. And down here on the blue bar, you can just get rid of a pharmacy. So I'm only keeping the pharmacy that's the best one. Now I'm going back in. I get my drugs. As you see, Jim, that number stayed the same. So that's good. When I go here and I go to print, there are two ways. They work the same. You can hit the print up here, or you can Control P and get your print box up, which for me came up over here, and send it off to print. Now, previous to today, it printed a very limited amount of this. We maybe got down to like about there if you were lucky. So we told them you need to fix the print. So today, when you go to print, it prints in very bold font, and maybe you get down to the Eloquist. And I'm like, yeah, I think you went the wrong direction there, people. So, but I know they are still working on that to get that ready for Tuesday. So hopefully there's some people, IT people working overnight all weekend long, get this thing straightened out. So here we come. I want to look back at my notes here. We've talked about Shingrix, we've talked about that. Now, obviously, I'm looking at 2020 plans, and it's not open enrollment, so they won't let me do anything about enrolling. Here, you can change over back to the 2019 plans, which is important in case you got somebody who's coming in new to Medicare and needs like a December plan and a January plan. So you can go look at the 2019 plans, which I'm going right now. And I'm picking up my 2000. Now I have an enroll button. If I click enroll, it's going to go, okay, really? Okay, now come up. That's because it's not open enrollment. It jumped on us. Now, to those of you who've counseled in years past are like celebrating right now. You're like, look at this. It's the pages we know and love. Here are our pages. We can go ahead and enroll like a normal person. Unfortunately, they have told us that the pages on Tuesday will look different and they can't show us what those pages are. So we are going to find out, at about 9:45 Tuesday, when the first person hits enroll, what we got. And that's what we're going to find out. So this enrollment page doesn't matter. It'll be gone. Poor Linda Burns was very excited today when she punched in, saw that enrollment page and went, yay. I'm like, nope, not happening. Not going to happen. So, but it should be pretty simple. As I said, if I'm walking through, and I'm walking through here again, just like I came in before, if we got the Medicare Advantage plans, we can always go to the Medicare Advantage plans and enter my zip code. Hang on, I got to think. I need a zip code in Greene County. 1 second, I'm gonna look that up. You guys can actually see what I'm typing there. Okay, what do we got? We'll go with that. 965. Make sure that's right. Yep, somebody's unmuted themselves and is in. There we go.
I think that was me. I can't see your screen.
Oh, let me make sure about this a second. I'm going to stop the share and reshare. Okay, boom, and boom, and share. Okay, can we see where I'm at here where it says
Yes.
answer a few quick questions?
Yeah.
Good, thank you for pointing that out. So now I'm going to go, I want a Greene County one here for a specific reason. Greene County, and I'm looking at Medicare Advantage plans now, and I don't get extra help, and I'm moving along. Sure, I'm just going to enter one drug, and I'm going to use both of those. And again, metformin, the hydrochloride, and that's going to be my only drug because that's not what I'm looking at here. So I'm done with my drugs. I can click here or click here. Boom, off I go. I'm going to get Greene County Pharmacy here, and I'm going to get CVS here. And now I've kept mail order, so it will show me mail order. And we see that we got Aetna here, the UVA plan. It's HMO with just there. And looky here, something we've never seen before. The Clear Springs Health HMO. This is available in Greene and Nelson County this year. Lenore has fixed up the sheets that give you the details on each of the different Advantage plans, and it has the Clear Spring Health Essentials on it. So you do have some details on it. It's a decent looking plan. we're going to need to, somebody's going to have to check very closely, make sure we get their doctors are on this plan. But, it's a 0 premium plan, health deductible. But look at this, people that are used to Advantage plans. Yearly cost of care here, out of pocket in network, not $6,700, but $3,250. That's a big difference. Everybody get that? For you newbies, this is fresh. This might not mean anything because we didn't get that detailed into Advantage plans, but for the veterans, this is a big difference in this out-of-pocket maximum than it was on the other plans that are carried. Still got primary doctor 0, specialist 25, and you can look, all this information is on the sheet you're used to using. So it is all there. It's a decent looking plan, and it will go into great detail here on all the different stuff. Hearing exams, hearing aids of all type. It has limited, but it does have some stuff for it. Preventative, comprehensive. It does have some comprehensive dental and vision, but obviously just one eyeglasses like normal. And so if you hit Advantage plans in Greene or Nelson County, this is an option that is different from we've seen before, that we have in the choices of them, but everything else is still there that we're used to seeing before. If you have a question about that or just want to make a comment, please, you can unmute yourself and jump in. But as I said, you want to, we want to make sure that we check the plan out and see if their physicians, their primary and everything, are in network, because it's a brand new thing. Look here, Doctors View Provider Service Network. I jumped that very quick. I'm going to go back. Sorry. I'm scrolling down on the overview of the plan, and then it has this button right under benefits where it will jump you to information about it, and it's their website, and so you can try to use their website to find providers on that. And so, primary care, you enter your zip code, you can search by name. Let's see if it gives me, or it can just give you a list like that and give you the primary care doctors that are on the network. Make sense for those veterans? Yes, no?
Hey, Randy, can you hear me? This is Steve.
Yeah, Steve.
Hi. Previously in my training, we always talked about Advantage plans as not only the disadvantage of out-of-pocket maximums being $185 versus, say, $6,700. But we also talked about the disadvantage in that most Advantage plans, at least my training with Lenore and you for that matter, is it's not very easy to file claims, and that their first answer is usually denial. Do we have any reason to believe that this new one is any different than the others with respect to customer service and a willingness to acknowledge claims versus deny them?
Absolutely nothing. When Aetna came in 2 years ago, people asked us that question, and we went, there's no history with them, so we have no idea to say if they are going to be any worse or better than Humana is. And then after a year of dealing with them, we realized they were about the same as Humana, for handling the specific things that there are very specific things they tend to try to deny out of hand. I'm not saying that they're horrible about everything, it's just certain things. But so we have the same answer for Clear Springs Health Essentials is we have no idea. There's no track record here for us to be able to tell you anything, right? Now, Clear Springs in itself, when Aetna came into the game to be the second one with Humana, now Aetna, people recognize. I know Aetna. I've heard of Aetna. It's an insurance company. This Clear Springs Health, we're going to have a lot of people with a little trepidation of going on a company they've never heard of before. So again, we're going to have to handle that one case by case. As I said, it's going to be Greene and Nelson County are the only places that this plan will come up. So, we'll have to handle that case by case with each of them. But as I said, you veterans are going to be handling these. So we're going to be a bit ahead of the game and feel out what we've got. Again, go ahead, Steve.
Excuse me, do any other ship offices have experience with this particular company?
I really don't know that answer. We could check around to see where else that they've come in. But Lenore, I don't know if Lenore's got her microphone working or not, but I think that this one really kind of came in out of left field, and we were not expecting it or didn't even see it on the horizon. So
okay, thanks, appreciate it.
Sorry about that. Yeah. Okay. So just wanted to point that out, that there's a new Advantage plan in the ball game this year, and I think Lenore has put together a book that will be at the Allied office and also here at Hillsdale. I told her to make one for the mobile unit, and she said nobody would want to carry this giant book around with them on the mobile unit, but it gives plan details down to the minute details on each of those plans. If you've got a client and you need to look up something very specific, if it covers this or not, then we do have the sort of the master book to look through on that. Okay, so I'm going back here. Now, I want to look at something real quick because somebody brought it up today, and I honestly don't know how it plays out. It is, see over here on the left-hand side, this is what was on the bar before, and we were selecting it across, but it has drug coverage, tier estimated, estimated drug cost going coverage phase, and now it'll bring up your drug costs and stuff. So it's buried a little bit down the line to get to the drugs, but it is there. So as we can see that CVS, we're going to pay nothing for our metformin. Right. We're going to pay nothing all year long. So it was a simple drug list, so that's okay. So, and actually I can kind of see that, it would give me all the same information as before. But again, you start on this overview. Let me go back to the overview or get somewhere here on the overview. And we're here looking through all this. And to get to the drug costs, you got to kind of go down and into it a little bit. So you can fast step your way down on the left-hand side because it's buried way down the line. Okay, makes sense? Everybody sees that? Okay, good. Most, you rookies are not going to be dealing with this for the most part, so don't panic because you're looking at stuff going, I don't know what this is. Okay, so one last thing that I need to point out that was brought to my attention on this last webinar from CMS is when we are doing, going back to this plan finder, starting over again, when we are coming in with somebody who is on LIS, if they went on to LIS, when they went on to Medicare or after they went on to Medicare, the plan finder sees the LIS, calculates for the LIS, it's perfectly fine. But they found a glitch that they're not quite sure when they're going to get this fixed. If somebody was on LIS before turning 65, let's say they were on Medicare for disability, had LIS, and now they've turned 65, now they're like 65, 67, 66, whatever. It may not recognize the LIS. It will say under their information in the upper right-hand side or so that they have LIS, but the calculator won't calculate it right. So you have to come back and, find, hang on this, let me get a box here, find this box and tell it that you have LIS, extra help. And then run the, and it's going to ask whether full or partial. And, you know, I'm just going to click full on this one. And then I move forward on this. Okay. I want some drug costs here. Let me just get something in real quick again. I want something big. So we're going for the UMA log again. Or UMA log or UMALIN. We'll go with either of them. Okay. I'll get the pins because those are more expensive. I'm going to pick up 2 of them. Add that to my drug list. Oh, it's kept my metformin. Didn't let me think I got out, so that's great. Go select pharmacy or 2 here. Again, if you need more pharmacies, they're right here. Click for more pharmacies and it'll give you more pharmacies. It will gray out like it has right now if you've already got enough pharmacies. But if it's not, it'll let you pick something there. So, and you can always get rid of the mail order. So now, because I have told it I have LIS, it's calculating. I'm gonna get rid of the premiums here. Boom, 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 boom. It is now calculating and giving me the 0 premium plans first, and it's giving me what, you know, the cost of each is going to be there. And I'm going to look at this Cigna one up front. And obviously nothing for the premium because I'm on LIS, no deductible because I'm on LIS. And I'll come down and it's going to go, oh, your UMA log. Well, that's a pretty darn expensive drug. So the maximum we can charge you is $8.95. That's the top of LIS this year for a brand name drug. So it's maximizing that out. And then for a generic drug like the metformin, $3.60 is the maximum it can be. Now you notice here when it goes to the metformin and we hit the coverage gap, the donut hole, again, it is 25% of the $5.30 here. So that's where that's going to get. So we got a total of, you know, $10.27. And so it's calculated this is that you're going to, okay, wow. I'm tapping my fingers because it blew the calculation again, and I'm going to have to let them know. Because, oh, cost, I'm sorry, this is cost after deductible. I thought it was doing deductible. So in deductible period, I'm paying $12.55 a month here. Woo, where'd me go to? And, oh, I think I just accidentally closed that. Oop, open it back up. And there it is telling me how much I'll be charged every month to pick up my prescriptions. Down here, the Rite Aid is actually better shape, so I'm in better shape here. So this is the one I want. And so you can see that coming along through there. Again, pretty good pricings on this. And it did calculate it right. Sorry, I jumped there for a second. This thing has been ever changing on us, and there's been so many problems we've found and tried to get them fixed and all this stuff that Lenore and I were laughing at ourselves a couple of days ago going, we've gotten a little twitchy. It's like every time we see something on the site, we're like, is that right? Oh, wait. So, sorry. It was correct. It did calculate it correctly. So, okay. How are we doing over there? Any questions there?
I have a question.
Yeah.
This is going to sound really simplistic, but
Nope. That's why we're here.
So when I get all finished and somebody says, okay, that's the plan I want, and I'm going to enroll you. Do you take the time to say, now let me remind you, this plan is calculated on the premium cost plus the cost of the lowest pharmacy that we chose, which in this case might be CVS.
This one's Rite Aid, but
yes. And then do you remind them that if they choose another pharmacy, which is perhaps not CVS, they may pay a higher cost. And if they choose an in-network pharmacy that is not preferred, it is likely to be even more expensive. And if they go out of network, it will be even more expensive. Right. They're not locked into that pharmacy, but do you remind them that that this cost is based on that CVS and that CVS only?
Right. Well, in this case, I'm going to switch to Rite Aid, but yes, what I would obviously be looking at would be as I'm counseling them, going, now do you see, if you go to CVS, you're going to pay more for the drugs than if you go to Rite Aid.
So you do tell them that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You're going to tell them that. And again, sometimes you'll get a really long drug list and you'll be able to kind of glance over it and go, get these 3 drugs at CVS and these 2 drugs at Rite Aid.
Because you get different costs depending on where you go.
Yes, absolutely. So, and you notice here, so CVS under this plan is a preferred in-network pharmacy, but CVS was only a standard in-network pharmacy. So, so that is how we're, you want to make sure of that. It always is for the newbies getting this. Some people get confused when they're doing this. They're going, by enrolling in this, you are not making a contract that you have to pick up your drugs every month. Here, this is just an insurance plan, and if you pick up your drugs, this is how it's going to cost. So, because we get some people are going like, but I can't pick that up every month. Yeah, so that's okay. You're going to do that. Okay, we're good with this. First day out, more so this year than ever any year that I've faced before. We're going to have to be, we're going to relax, get into this. We might see some things we're not used to seeing, or it does something on us, and we're just going to deal with the problem as it comes up. You're going to show us what you see, and we're going to fix it or figure out how we're going to handle that situation. And as I said, we're probably going to know a whole lot more by the end of the first week than we know right now.
Hey, Randy.
Yeah, Steve.
Could you go through what we do with assisted living or nursing homes, such as they seem to all use Omnicare. A lot of them do.
Well, a lot of them do. Now, one of those things, if you get somebody who is at an assisted living or a nursing home assisted living, where they are getting the prescriptions through, I'm going to say Our Lady of Peace across the street here, and Our Lady of Peace is getting your prescriptions and handing them to you. What Our Lady of Peace has done is they have gone and they got a warehouse that's not on our pharmacies here, where we first see, they got a warehouse where they're getting those prescriptions from. So what we have to do is make sure we figure out where that particular facility is getting their drugs through. What we want to know is the name of the place and the zip code. Many of them, Lenore and I and others, we know because it's just we deal with it often, and so we could be able to answer that question right off the bat. But when we go in there, hang on, I'm going to go back to, I'm going to spin all the way back to the drug thing here. Give me 1 second. Can you guys still see my page? Shake my head here. Okay, good. Thank you. And I'm done with the drugs. I want to pick a pharmacy. Get rid of you. And now I need to find that pharmacy, right? So I want to find, oh crap. Now I got to find Richmond or Omnicare. I don't memorize the zip code. Care. I think it's Omnicare, and then go Richmond. There we go, Omnicare Richmond. Okay. Medicare. I think it's Henrico. We'll find out. So I'm going here. Now it's going to, if we find it, and thanks, Steve, for setting me up on one. There it is. See my Omnicare? Steve, you got that?
Yeah, I do. Thank you. I really appreciate this. Randy.
Yeah, so there's, you got your Omnicare. That's the pharmacy you're going to pick. And then you're going to move forward. And so now it's calculating off of, that is my pharmacy. So that's how we get our pharmacy. This person we set up was already on LIS. And so it's giving us very similar results because the pharmacy is going to have to abide by LIS max numbers. See right here. Well, that's Rite Aid. We still have Rite Aid. Where's my Omnicare? My Omnicare, it's going by the max number. So it's going to be $12.55 a month to pick up the prescriptions.
Great, thanks.
Good. Thanks for pulling that in, Steve. So Yeah, we'll run into that. Again, it's raise your hand, call us over. In doubt of anything, grab one of us. At the mobile unit, you're going to have a manager there that's skilled and knows what they're talking about and knows how to call us and get answers if they don't know the answer. Then at each of the sites, either here at the Hillsdale office or down on Allied Street, it's going to be either Lenore or I that's there to help out to answer questions. And we're going to get real scared if people aren't answering questions. Remember, for you newbies this year at the Allied office, first couple of weeks, we've got veterans walking around helping jump in. If you see on your schedule something that looks like a scary situation for a client, and you're like, oh dear God, I don't know how to do a Medicare Advantage, realize we already see it and we know we're going to have somebody sitting down with you and doing it. You're okay. I will look at the scheduler. If we look at the scheduler here, the negative numbers means we have a client in a place but no counselor against them. I usually get worried a few days, the few days ahead of time or the week ahead of time. So I'm really concerned about the first 4 days here. I know I've got lots of people that are coming and filling in themselves. They've told me they're going to jump on this weekend and fill themselves out. But here are my real concerns next week. Greene County and down in Esmont, down southern Albemarle County, and a couple in Fork Union, we're sucking wind. Now, all the newbies are going to be up here, so it's up to the veterans to fill in down here. Not all of you are on this call, but I'm going to send out an email concerning this too, and actually probably call a couple of people very specifically and say, hey, we need help out here, because I don't want to have to come in on Monday and do what we have never done ever, and that is call clients we have already scheduled and said, we can't see you, we need to reschedule you some other time. And I was like, we've never had to do that. I don't want to do that now. So, okay. Yeah.
For those of us going into Allied, it didn't look like parking was very available. Do you have any suggestions about where we could park so clients won't have a problem?
Yeah, actually, if you give me 1 second, I'm going to pull up something exactly to say that. Let me escape out of this PowerPoint here. Just give me 1 second. I'll bring something over on your screen. Okay, I'm going to bring this over onto your screen here now. Sorry, I was getting it up on another screen. And I'll just show you this thing. So here is a map of where the Allied is. Here's McIntyre here. You're coming off Seaville Coffee right here, Circa right here, and you're splitting the two going down Allied Street. And this little dirt pile in the picture is our office, which is no longer a dirt pile. And so for us, for the counselors or anybody else volunteering or working at the sites, we want to park either back here in this lot behind Circa. There's parking there. Or up here, what they call the A and B lots up here. A and B lot, that's B lot. And park up in here. And then from that, you can't see it from here, but there's a walkway right along the alley here, right along that purple building. And then you come up the sidewalk in there. This is a one-way street, so if you come up Allied here and then you go down this one-way alleyway and park your car, then just walk back down the sidewalk here, back and get to us here. So park either down here or over here. Street parking is great for some people, but there's only 2-hour parking, so nobody wants to get ticketed. So, but try not to park in the parking areas here, because that's where we want to leave those open for our clients. And we realize there's 2 other businesses right here with us, so they may have people coming in and out also. So does that help answer the question, John?
That makes it clear. Thank you.
Okay, good. We had talked about at the end of the counseling session, you have several different things to walk through. we realize it seems a little more complicated this year than the year past, so we have put up on the board in front of you just a little sheet that goes, here's your walk down at the end. You're gonna make sure you print out everything that we can print out for them that they need, make sure they notice the envelope with the donation, hand them the survey, show them both sides of the survey, tell them they can just fill it out there and leave it there, or things, because usually if the survey leaves the building, it isn't ever coming back. Point out the service guide, which is that little booklet with all the services that JABA provides. You know, could say, I just want to bring to your attention, you may not need any of these services now, but you may need them in the future, or know somebody who does need them, and give them the service guide. Then there's a blue folder, and you can just take everything and put it into the blue folder and hand it to them, and off they go. Okay? Does that sound good? Everybody is always a little nervous before we start open enrollment, including myself and Lenore, and you know, especially this year, we're like, okay, but in the end, we know this. We've got a lot of good people who got a lot of good information, and we know how to help people. We may be fighting the website a little bit to start out with, but we know what we're doing, and we're going to be able to help a lot of people this year. As I said, I was dealing with that number earlier. Earlier, I told you, I forget what number I told you earlier. Hang on a second. Let me come back here. Move this off. How many appointments we had before we started this webinar? I should have wrote it down, but it was like something like 1,600 and what was it?
It was 1696.
1696? Was that high? Yeah, okay. So we're over 1,700 now, since they've made a few more appointments since we've been talking. And in fact, I was laughing, and we noticed this morning, by 11 o'clock this morning, they had already put 44 clients in today. So they keep coming in, and as I said, they won't be any new people coming in won't be put on the schedule that isn't in any of these green boxes, and we're just going to need to backfill in a little bit here on the pink boxes as we go along, because that means we're sort of negative somebody with that. I don't get real worried about out here. I am concerned about the first 4 days here. So if you can jump in, pull an extra shift, do something as we get out of the gate here. I don't know if this will scare you or not, but last year we saw an average of 60 people a day, almost to the nose, 60 people a day. Sorry about that. Let me get rid of that. There we go. 60 people a day, and it would fluctuate down to like around maybe low 50s, up towards 70. I think we hit 70 one day. The first days out this year, our number of clients set already on the schedule are 77, 91, 93, 77, 93. Those are the first 5 days. So we knew it was going to be a bigger open enrollment, and it is. Anybody nervous about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Randy, let me just make a comment if I can.
Yeah, go, Steve.
Last year, open enrollment was mayhem. I mean, I started the first week, and I was a newbie then. But I'd also like to share with everybody else, particularly the newbies, it's fun. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's a disaster, but it's a fun one because you'll be laughing along with other counselors getting started. You know, we all sort of look around in bewilderment about how are we ever going to get this done. But typically, you know, it's not well, there's a lot going on. I never felt pressured. It isn't that. It's sort of a camaraderie in a hurricane. You know, it really is. So I would just encourage whoever's new here that while it sounds kind of ominous or it can sound kind of ominous, that's not the atmosphere at all. The atmosphere is it's a challenge. It's fun. How you doing? How you doing? A lot of camaraderie, a lot of support. It's nuts at times. Of course it is. But you don't have that, oh, my God, we're not going to do it. I never experienced that once. It's all just, okay, we're in a hurricane. We're all going to get wet. Let's just have fun. So just for the newbies, just a heads up.
Good. Thanks, Steve. It's definitely, the sky is not falling. We're going to be okay. there, but I saw you people. I saw some of you look up, looking to see if it came down. So,
Randy,
yeah, who we got?
it's Rob.
Yeah, hi, Rob.
I'm going to bring a Macintosh to this hurricane.
We tend to, for secure. Well, one is for be able to print and to be able to go, through our systems and stuff.
No, Randy, you misunderstand. In English, a Macintosh is something to keep you dry in a rainstorm.
Oh.
Okay. A couple of questions.
Yeah.
As a newbie, do the totals of drugs and premium add up?
Yes, they do. I had that question specifically back and forth with my guy at CMS, and we had a fun little email run back and forth. I said, look, I have to know, can we trust the numbers it's giving us? Are the drug prices right? Are they adding up correctly? And he came back and he said, yes, they are. He caveated, said the problem was the LIS numbers sometimes, but he said, yes, you can trust these numbers. So,
right. Question number 2, and I've got one more after this.
Okay.
The guy or the person who was on LIS before they were 65,
yes.
Does that come up as a 0 premium automatically, even if you don't subsequently or previously amend the application?
Right. All they're saying is they have seen a glitch that for people who were on LIS before they turned 65, that the calculator was not calculating it out correctly. And how you would know that is you wouldn't have any 0 premium plans. So,
gotcha. Okay.
That's so. And they're working on they may have that fixed by Tuesday.
Okay. The third point is an idea. I'm somewhat concerned in my mind how one explains, let's say, the 3 pharmacies that you pick and how you choose the right one when you've got this extra drug which is not prescribed right. In other words, you get it 4 times a year instead of once a year.
Right.
My thought is, because the person sitting in front of you would expect to see a side-by-side comparison, and there doesn't appear to be one. So,
well, you can always do a side-by-side comparison, but if you remember from training, we said some people, most of your clients are a little skittish on this stuff, and if you start going, oh, you could pick this, or you could pick this one, or you could pick this one, they lock up. So we usually only show them, here's what the best plan is. And then if they want to go, well, what do those look like? Then you can do a side-by-side comparison on that. But if you start giving them too much information, they lock up. So you want to just show them the best plan to start with.
Okay, how do we determine that?
Because it'll be the top plan on the plan finder.
Well, once you add in this strange drug.
Right. Once you go to the strange drug, then what you've done is, and I guess sort of walk it through in a sense of saying, hey, I'm going to pull you guys off of the shared screen so you can see me. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to go run it without and again, the strange drug is what we're talking about is a drug that they're only picking up once or twice a year, so it doesn't fit into the 1 month, 2 month, 3 month situation. So if then you run all the rest of the drugs, it comes up and it gives you, here are the top 3 ones. You get scratched down on a piece of scrap paper, those 3 ones, so you remember what they are. Run back, turn around, come back around again, put the drug in, the Shingrix, the rescue inhaler, those would be predominantly the ones we'd be facing. And then run it through again, and then go, are any of those 3 still on my top couple of ones? And if they are, oh yeah, that one's on there and the other 2 aren't, or they both are, but this was the best one to start with. Now in your head without having to go through in great detail and explain it to them is, oh yeah, so this looks like this Cigna plan is the right plan. We're going here. Let me show you. We're going to pull up now. It's calculating that you're getting too many of these a year, but here's the price it's going to be every time you pick one up. You know, it's going to be $33 for the Shingrix shot, or it's going to be $50 for this inhaler. That makes sense?
Yeah, the point I was trying to make, obviously badly, was rather than a scrap of paper, how about something with 16 squares on it, which just has the pharmacy across the top, the price without the strange drug, the price with the strange drug. Therefore, it becomes obvious which one the best one is to you. Or
Right, right. But what I'm saying is that you got 29 plans and a plethora of pharmacies and stuff. So you got to kind of draw the line of how much you're going to run these numbers. You know, so if you were trying to get an evaluation of what those numbers were against every one of the plans.
No, not the 29, Randy. The
but
three
the top
you've
three.
picked. Yeah,
So
the three you've picked.
Yeah. The three you picked, sure, if you want to go, you know, okay, here's the three I picked, here's what their prices total out of pocket were before we put it in, and here's what the total out of pocket was afterwards, to see, then you have some numbers to look at, to compare. But really what you're really looking for in the end is which one of those three still stayed on top.
Okay. I'm not explaining myself, so let me die now.
Okay, that's fine. Well, what we'll do is you and I can sit down. You could kind of draw this out for me or so at some point here. So, okay. Oh,
Randy?
Yeah.
This is Mary Ann Randalls. Are we supposed to have some kind of a unique number from SHIP before we start our counseling?
The newbies, you guys, there is a time lag on that when they give those out. And I will keep up on the state, finding out when they've got them, got them ready for the newbies. In that case, we're going to, let's put it this way, if you're having to use that number, meaning you have to call Medicare and ask a question, you already have one of us standing at your desk.
Okay.
And we have a number and can do that.
Okay, but there's no problem with us actually doing the counseling before.
Oh, no. You're certified. You're perfectly fine with that. You've passed the test. You are completely done and certified. Now it's just you're waiting for, here's your special badge that allows you to call Medicare through the back door.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, fine. Yeah. Okay. There'll be lots of questions along the way as we get rolling and everything. I am so excited about the number of counselors we have, really the attitude and we've had trying to get through sort of this uniquely difficult this year preparation for it. We have never seen one like this. Maybe Sally has, but we've never seen one like this for Lenore and I, and don't expect to see it again anytime soon. So but we're going to make it. We're going to get in there, and we're going to help a lot of people starting day one, and be, it's going to be amazing. I've been out talking in the community, different places, doing some days 2 or 3 talks a day, and the response. I always have somebody in the crowd that will go, "Oh yeah, I've used JABA's Medicare counseling. They're great. They're wonderful." I heard somebody walk down the hallway today as one of the counselors was taking them down and just going down for their appointment. And they said, "Oh, you counselors, you're superheroes." And that's what we feel about all of you guys, because it's amazing what we're able to do together. And it's just, I'm looking forward to this getting started. I get this point, I get a little antsy. I just want to get started. Let's go. We're ready to go. You ready to go?
Ready to go.
You're ready to go. Ready to go, Peggy? I can see you.
I'm ready to go.
There you go. Good. Okay. Obviously, you can continue emailing questions or so with that. And Rob, I'd like to hear a little more. We'll talk some more about your idea. Because I don't want to, I like having ideas. You guys are our best idea well. So
I'll send it to you in the email.
Perfect. Thanks, Rob. Appreciate you.
It's a visual. It's one piece of paper.
Right.
Standard.
Good. We'll look at it.
I'll do it.
And we'll get working on that. Well, I appreciate you guys all here, being here, coming on. I'm going to, this has been recorded, so then I'm going to pull it down, get it ready, and I'm going to put it up on a YouTube site for anybody to see if you guys need to look back at it, or especially we've had several people. We got, I think, 2 or 3 counselors going right now who are not available to see it because they're busy counseling. So we got a lot of people catch up on this stuff. Again, look at your scheduler, see if there's some ways you can fill in the first 4 or 5 days to kind of clean up some of those negatives for us. And appreciate you all, and thanks for showing up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well done, Randy. Good show.
Thanks.
Thanks, Randy.